It's a new day. Yesterday you saw we went to Empy and got a bunch of parts, and then to King to figure out our shock package. Dropped off window nets at PRP to get those rolling, and got some brake lines done late last night. GoPro was charging. I'll show you those brake lines a little later. However, I'm here at Cryoheat, and my boy Josh is a mad scientist when it comes to metal. How many years in the business you been working with metal?
Seriously, like 2 decades, maybe longer. The gray hair shows it, but the smile doesn't, for sure.
That's what's up. And I've done this process on my CVs and axles on Megalodon with 700 horsepower, and we're gonna be working with 82 horsepower, but we want to finish races. And why not make it stronger while it's apart? We're in that big time crunch to get to the mint, but Josh and his crew, they're on top of it. They turn and burn here at Cryoheat. So he's going to give you a little breakdown about what Cryoheat actually does to metal, to brake pads, to just anything and everything surrounding high stress parts that we don't want to fail. So I brought an array of parts here on the cart that we're going to go over and kind of give you guys an in-depth breakdown of why I brought my parts to Cryo. So let's see, what are we working with and why are we doing this? Give the people what they need to hear.
Okay, well, first of all, Blake's viewers obviously knows how he drives, and with getting Blake into a class 11, that's going to be scary because that's basically a stock Volkswagen. Off-roading, but not just off-roading, but full-on racing and competing against all the other class 11s, and I know that the class 11 class is blowing up and it's getting huge.
Yep.
So Blake called me up, told me what his fantasy is and his whole dream scheme of building a class 11 car, and he wants massive strength put into it. So what we're going to do is we're going to use the Cryoheat process, which is going to make the molecular structure much more clean and more in a uniform shape. It's going to stress relieve all the parts, and that's going to give us a lot more strength. Rock weld hardness is the same, so a lot of people think that our Cryoheat process makes things harder, and it doesn't. Rock weld hardness is the same. So we're gaining shear strength and things like that just by realigning the molecular structure. But when we do that, some of the cool things are stress relieving it the way we do. It's going to help dissipate thermal temperatures significantly. So that's one of the reasons why we're doing clutch plates and we're doing the drums. And what, you got rotors in the front of the car?
Nope, drums.
Just drums.
Yep,
Drums, front and rear?
Yep.
So yeah, so we'll be doing the drums and the brake shoes because they'll dissipate the thermal temperatures, they'll work a lot better, and they'll last him a lot longer. Not that he's going to probably have to stop the car at 88 horsepower, 82 horsepower, but you know, at the checker flag, you're going to want to stop.
Absolutely.
But yeah, the clutch, you're going to be milking that clutch a lot, and so for us to do the Cryoheat process, it will dramatically decrease the thermal temperatures. Same with the CV joints. We're going to Cryoheat process the CV joints. You're going to gain probably right around 28% more strength and about 250% more longevity, service life out of this CV joint. But then we're going to go in and micro polish it. And this, I'm going to take this apart real quick.
Go ahead, man.
Drop it out.
Yeah, absolutely.
So what these parts are going to look like when we're done is a mirror finish. So there is a brand new stock Star. That's what they look like, brand new. And when we're done with this, this will look like literally chrome dipped.
It'll basically look like the balls.
It'll look like the balls.
So from that to that, and you can also feel a little bit of
there's machining.
A little bit of machining on there.
You can feel all the machine work on there, and it's super rough. And we're gonna change this and make it just smooth like butter, so the grease will last longer, the temperatures will be decreased, the friction will be gone, and we'll also be cryoheat treating and micro polishing the axles. We'll cryoheat treat the axle for strength, but we're gonna micro polish them to get rid of any blams that are on the splines, because these are plunging splines that will plunge, so the star actually goes back and forth on these splines during the cycle of suspension.
One thing I want to touch down on is the 250% longer life.
Yeah.
You know what? It makes sense because I haven't really had a whole lot of time to service my CVs and axles, and they're still charging hard. But that's exciting. So we're reducing heat, we're making parts stronger, and we're getting longer life out of them.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Yeah, and we're doing so. Also, we're gonna do my CV hardware because these see a lot of movement and a lot of twists and a lot of torque.
Yeah.
And then we're also doing stub axles, which slide through your entire bearing carrier on your rear arms. I wish I had my front spindles. Those are already on the car and kind of a pain in the butt with how you have to cam them over. I might bring those to them on the next run. But
let's go into a little bit more of the toughness, but also dimensional stability with our Cryoheat process. I don't know if they can see
so many scientific words.
if they can see through this bag, but if you want to explain your viewers what this actually is right here.
These are leafs for a ball joint front end. These go into your, actually I need to get another set of those because there's supposed to be 2 sets, one for the top, one for the bottom.
Okay.
We'll come back to that.
It's kind of like a torsion bar.
Exactly.
And they flex.
Yeah.
And so gaining dramatically gaining dimensional stability. So these torsion bars constantly flex every time the suspension moves.
Yep.
And it's hard to see, but what are these? About 1/8 of an inch thick?
Yeah, about 1/8, and they have different widths here. Yeah.
And they're known of breaking.
Yes, correct.
Very quickly. Prone. And when they break, you lose your suspension in the front end of the car.
Yep.
So
saggy suspension.
We're gonna process these, and we're gonna probably get about a 1 to 3% stronger spring tension.
Okay.
But the actual flexibility of being able to flex and come back will be a lot better.
Basically,
it's like I'm flying.
Yes. It's science.
Yeah, it really is.
And that's why I'm here, because I want these parts to last longer. I want them to finish races, and I want to give myself and all my partners that I'm working with the best car I can, because at the end of the day, I grew up racing moto, and I want to. not only want to finish and beat the Mint 400 course, but I want to do as good as I can possibly do with going through this process. So that's why I'm here to see Josh. That's why I'm taking, about 4 days out of assembly to have this done when I only have a 30-day crunch time. That means it's mandatory for me, and especially with something of this nature, because these parts they're good parts. Like, MP has stepped it up on their manufacturing side, but why not make it the best parts?
That's right.
We're gonna go check out the shop and give you guys a little tour of the shop. So I think we got the scientific explanation of why we're here, and we'll go walk through the shop, and then I need to get my ass back to my shop and get some shit done, because I've been driving around and just going through the waves. So I'm gonna leave this chore up to him, but let's go check out the shop. Yeah, so this is the shop, very well put together. Their last shop, they've expanded, and basically I'm gonna let Josh just run through what you could expect when you come to Cryo, if you got new or used parts. And here, dude, just take this thing and you show up.
Cool.
This is your world now, baby.
All right, so whether you're locally or you're sending us a package, it comes in, and right away we'll go through the package, make sure that all the parts are there. There's a checklist. There's a lot of photography involved. Then we start, if it needs to be washed, it goes into a hot tank like right here. Hot tank gets up to 145 degrees, gets the parts clean. Here's one of our filing cabinets right here for a bunch of jobs that we got going on. And here is a teardown table, so you can see there's a UTV transmission and a differential that did not do so well. But everything gets torn down and cleaned and visually inspected before it gets reassembled or goes through any of the other processing. Here is our vapor honing machine from Vapor Honing Technologies.
These have all been freshly vapor honed.
And so these are all used cases for Polaris transmissions, and they've all been
now look brand new.
Yeah, looking brand new, looking beautiful. Here's let's see, here's some other ones that he just finished right here. These are used, and that's what they look like when they're done.
They look better than off.
They look better, don't they?
Better, bro.
Yeah, they look way better than brand new.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Beautiful. And I've seen you've expanded. Like this is.
Oh
this
yeah,
is
we've expanded.
The science laboratory.
Yeah,
right here.
it's a little bit of a chaotic mess right now, but I mean, whatever. We're working.
You should see my shop. This is organized.
So over here in the corner, we have our cryogenic machines. We have 3 of them in here right now. We're waiting to pull the permit, or once we get our permit with Oceanside, we'll have the liquid nitrogen tower outside.
Ooh.
That'll help us out a lot on getting jobs done faster. This is pretty much the heart and soul of the business right here. It's our screw type air compressor. It runs pretty much all day long. 135 psi at 120 cubic feet a minute.
That's
Yeah, it's. Here's our polishing machines. This is the big one that we run. This will run like all of our ring and pinion gears, the automotive gears. This guy here does a lot of our dirt bike stuff, which we do a ridiculous amount of.
That's right.
And then we have 2 machines on the far back, and they do our crankshafts and any like the axle shafts or big cam shafts and stuff like that. And then what Blake really liked is when I said, look behind the curtain, and so I brought him back to the back here, and we have a mag room. So here's our Magnaflux machine. She's an old dinosaur, but it's cool because there's a really big ring, so we're able to do big suspension components, all the way from semi-truck, can't even say it right now. Crankshafts. Thanks for helping me, Blake.
Yeah, this is your world. I'm just living in it, bro.
We've done big crankshafts, and axles, and anything from just small parts like this, just real small motorcycle gears and everything.
It's a safety precaution because you never know, man. It's one of those things that like can be easily overlooked.
With the naked eye, you can look at something that's totally clean and it looks fine. But then we'll put it in here and use magnetic particle inspection with a special dye, and you shut the lights off and use this special light right here. Then you can see all these microscopic fractures and hairline stress fractures where you can see it like in the root of a gear and go, wow, that gear is ready to go.
Yep.
And if you put it back in,
race over.
Yeah, you race over.
Game over.
It could be 20 miles down the road, it could be 100 miles down the road, but you're gonna have a failure.
You just wasted a whole bunch of efforts trying to get to a race.
So here's some of the other machines I was talking about that do the micro polishing. Here's our chemistry. We don't use anybody else's. We actually manufacture our own chemistry here.
For the spray that goes into the media.
The chemistry that goes into these machines that's mixed with water. We'll use 2 types of different chemistry, and one of them is like an acid etching, and so anywhere from 1 hour to 8 hours of different type of etching, and then we'll do a polishing rouge for anywhere from 4 hours to literally 20 hours.
So what you did the other day, which was awesome, you took something like this and you went. You can hear that.
Yeah.
You can hear that. And then these look like these have been polished before?
Yes, they have.
Now let's listen to this. I can't even make any noise with that. And that's with a sharp razor blade, but this one you can hear different tones of the razor blade flexing and going against those fine grooves. So that was super impressive. When I saw that, I was like, it just makes so much sense on the amount of drag and friction and heat that could come from a part that's not micro polished.
Yeah, absolutely.
And that's not even without that's even without cryo. So
we call them stress risers, and some of them are microscopic. But what happens is with a lot of torque load, with a lot of speed, that surface of that gear will actually get hotter than what we want it to. And then what happens also with those stress risers is with a lot of friction, they start flaking off, and that's what you see in the metal. So that's why, unless you're running a wet clutch inside that transmission, obviously the clutch fiber is going to go into the transmission. But if there's no clutch in that transmission, or you're not running a diesel engine, you drain the oil, and it's going to be totally clean.
Yeah.
Because of our cryoheat processing, for the dimensional stability and the strength, and then the micro polishing, it's
business.
the life goes through the roof, and the power goes through the roof. Zach Bell again at the Big Six just took a whole shot and won. Even with the crash, still won with a lot of time up front.
Dude.
And you know, it's like Kawasaki off-road, more Volkswagen parts.
I should have brought you mine.
Yeah, I told you all your suspension components, and Blake said, we only got a couple weeks. I'm on a crunch.
After this race, I got a whole nother cart coming. So.
Yeah, but I mean, we do a lot of dirt bike parts. You can see a lot of UTV parts. I don't want to brag. Yes, I do. I think we're the best UTV transmission shop in the world, and that's why we have customers shipping us transmissions or ordering transmissions from Cryoheat for us to build the ultimate, bomb-proof or full race pro mod, what we call, because we take a lot of weight out of the transmission. We balance the gears, we cryo heat treat them, we micro polish them, and then we can cut out like 10 pounds of rotating mass out of a lot of these UTV transmissions, which completely wakes the car up.
It's a lot.
Yeah, it's a lot. Yeah.
Well, I need to go get my hands dirty.
Get out of here.
You got plenty of
I
stuff
got
to
a lot to do.
And I just put more on your plate.
Yeah, you
so,
did.
Thank you.
Awesome. Great
I'm
seeing
excited to see the final product. We'll show you guys those CVs, and I think that's where you notice the biggest drastic change. And then we'll follow up with a race recap after the Mint 400 to show you what some of those parts look like after a lot of brutal miles.
Yeah.
And hopefully my back looks as good as those parts are gonna look.
You'll come in about 3 inches shorter.
That's a wrap here at Cryo.
Awesome.
They're in Oceanside.
Thanks, everybody.
Check them out, Cryoheat on IG, and you'll see a lot of other parts that look like more like jewelry than they do parts.
Later. Thanks.
We're back at Cryoheat today this morning after doing some early run around. Basically, we got all of my drums, and then we have my spare set of leafs that we had done. What's up, Skip Plate?
What up, brother?
Cruising, dude. How are you?
Going.
Remember last time?
Stronger.
Lighter, faster, stronger, baby. Remember last time you saw these CVs? Look at these things. Mirrored finish. Like, compared to what they were, holy moly. That's what's up. The axles, the surfaces were super smooth already, so we're just gonna run those. We just cryoed those, and we didn't micro polish those, just yeah, no big deal. But we did cryo also stub axles, CV hardware, brakes, a bunch of that good stuff. So I'm excited to see these things hopefully live up to the test. I know Josh is running around here somewhere. He's doing business like a madman as always. Those parts look so sick.
Awesome, thank you.
Dude. Well, I'm gonna load these things up because I need to get my butt back to the shop and start assembling this thing. This car's not gonna assemble itself, and we're here to pick these up and get back to it. So I'm super jonesed on these. I mean, it's jewelry. And here we are, gonna cover these things up with grease and beat the hell out of them.